welcome back to the garden. So today, another one of my gardening for beginners. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to repot, what that means, how to do a little bit of plant hygiene, and again, explaining a little bit on that, and how to do a little bit of root pruning. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So we've all got that one plant that doesn't look that good, right? And we're always thinking, I don't really know what to do with that. It's still yellow, it's looking pretty sickly. And then someone says to you, that probably just wants repotting. And you go, yeah, I'll do that. You think, well, what does that actually mean? So, all that simply means is we need a bigger pot. And I know that sounds really silly, but I'm going to go ahead and show you what that looks like and how you do it and what you can use instead of compost and different things like that to get you started. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pick a plant that's seen better days, that needs a little bit of new compost or garden soil, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that. This is my plant and it's seen better days. It was a bit of a rescue one, only a couple of pounds, but in order to get this looking back to its best, all it simply needs is repotting and putting in a different pot. So this pot is what's called a 2.5 litre, and they go up in litres, and they actually have, or they should have, how big they are just on the bottom there. Now this needs a 3 litre, or it could go up to a 5 litre. Now I wouldn't worry about putting it in too big of a pot. You only just want to go a little bit bigger because it only needs that little bit of food to get going. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to show you how to root prune this before you actually go ahead and plant it, and that will help the plant get going in its new pot, and it will make such a difference, to be honest, for when it does go in there. So let's grab one. So the easiest way to knock it out of its pot isn't to actually hold the plant itself, because there's a good chance it could snap off, especially if we were replanting a plant that's not the healthiest. So the best thing to do is actually cover your hand over the top and then flip the pot upside down, and it should just fall out. There we go. As you can see, it's not that much bigger, and I'm going to go ahead and show you. Just on there it says 3 litre. Now this hasn't got a massive root system, but I'm going to show you what you do if you can see all the roots wrapped around. What happens is sometimes the plant gets in such a habit of the root system going round and round, it doesn't know how to search for food, so it's never ever going to actually break out of that cycle. So what you can do is just cut off the very bottom. So what you can do is just here, you can take off the bottom sort of 1/2 inch. You can do that with secateurs, scissors, or as it gets harder, if you're going to do like a tree or something like that, you can use a saw. Now don't worry about being too brutal, they will grow back, but I wouldn't recommend doing any more than 1 inch off the bottom. So I'm just going to cut into it with a pair of secateurs, so I'll show you how to do that. So on this occasion I've got some handy snips, and then all you're going to do is you're simply just going to snip into it, just breaking up those roots, and you're really not going to harm the plant at all. Just like that. All you're doing is teasing them roots out, and I'll show you a bit more of a close-up on that. And there we have it. So another good tip is you can snip these dead leaves off. Now what you don't want them to do is start going mouldy inside what we call the crown, and the crown is right in the middle of a plant, and then that can obviously cause it to rot away. So snip these off, and then the pot itself isn't that much bigger, so you're aiming to put probably 1 inch to 1.5 inches of fresh compost or garden soil in the bottom, and then simply place that on top. So I'll go ahead and do that. Simply pop the new plant in. Now as you can see on the old plant, it has a lip on, and so does the new one. Most pots actually do, and that lip there is what you're actually aiming for to get the plant in. So if you can aim for putting it on that lip, then what the idea is you actually top dress around and in the corners with your fresh compost. So with your fresh compost, you want to get it all into the corners, all around the edge, and then you want to give it like a soft thumbing in. What I mean by that is simply just get your fingers in around the sides and then give it a good tap, and that'll help all the compost go around the sides and bed in just nice. Get rid of some of them old leaves. And that is it. Now if you are going ahead and using just a garden soil, then I'd recommend you give it some tomato feed, something like Tomarite or a seaweed feed, just to help the plant get some good nutrients back in. But yes, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. It's one in a series of around 10 videos we're going to put on a playlist for how to garden for beginners, so I hope you enjoyed it. So if you did, then be sure to give it a big thumbs up, because it really does help the channel out. And until next time, I'll see you in the garden, guys. Take care. Don't forget the label.